Hello, I'm Richard Vobes, the Bald Explorer, and I'm in my studio for another Sunday chat. How are you? This has been a very interesting week with lots going on. The one that's just finished, that is, of course. We started out this week with lovely Mike Dixon, who took me round Falmer, and we were chatting not so much about the landscape and heritage and nature that we could see, but about the benefits of getting out into such places, going for walks, doing things, having a bit of awe, all to do with mental health. And I'm hoping that I can get out with lovely Mike Dixon again soon, and we can do more talking about the wonders of the outdoors and how it benefits not just physically but mentally. So that was really, really good, and I thoroughly enjoyed all of that. We also had an interesting interview with my son Stanley. Stanley is 28 years old, or 29 I think he actually is. I think he corrected me in the video that we made together. And he's self-employed, and he's just moved into a new office in Southampton where he lives. He was working at home, and he was telling me how excited he was to be moving into his first away from home office so that he could concentrate on the web development work that he does. Having a young child of 2 years, my grandson, at home, there are plenty of distractions. And if he was to have another son or daughter, for that matter, then there'd be double the amount of distractions. So he wanted to get into the leaving for work mode and concentrate that way on his self-employment. But it was interesting to get a young person's self-employment perspective, because I've been self-employed doing one thing or another for a long time. And it's interesting now that I think there are more people who are self-employed at any other time in history. Well, in recent history, I suppose that should be. So it's interesting to, get his perspective. If you haven't seen any of the videos that I'm going through, they are up there. So do check them out if they take your fancy. The lovely Julia and I went for a crisp walk on a frosty morning on the South Downs up to Black Cap. Now, this is a continuation of the South Downs way that I've been doing. It's a bit of an ad hoc thing. I thought it would be quite interesting, rather than walk the whole thing linear from one end to another, is to just jump in at any point and have a look at it. So I started at the Jack and Jill windmills a few weeks ago, and I've been doing little segments along the way. And to make it a bit more interesting, rather than just continuing from the exact spot that I went from, I've been climbing up the hill, because actually I think the walk itself is fantastic, but sometimes when you're on the crest of the hills, as it were, you miss some of the wonders that are on the combes and the escarpment and on the hillside. So wanted to show you a bit of that. So lovely Julia and I had a lovely little clamber up there, which was great fun. I met up again with the young bell ringer Ollie, or Ringer Ollie as he likes to be known, at St Margarets Church in West Hoathly, which is in East Sussex. It's famed, of course, the village for the priest house, which is a very old priest house, I think 16th century, 60 or 15th century, I think, from 1460, I believe, or somewhere around there. It was first occupied, and it's been in constant occupation ever since then. And that's got to be a rarity. So I did pop in to see Anthony Smith, who lives there, and ask him if it's all right to come back in the spring and do an interview with him and a walk around the house. And he said, yes, that would be fantastic. I know my friend Mark English, who makes videos, he's recently had a little trip round there. So do check his video out, get an insider view of the house. But it was really, we were concentrating on St Margaret's Church, the history of the church, and Ringer Ollie, who's only 15, was telling me more about bell ringing and how and what the differences are over the periods of our English history about bell ringing. It's quite fascinating. I do seem to have quite a lot of bell ringers now as a result of having interviewed him I think it was last year now, when we did our first ones. So that's really cool. The lovely Julia and I popped over to Hampshire to have a look at Titchfield Abbey. Well, it isn't really Titchfield Abbey anymore. The ruins were pulled down after the dissolution of the monasteries and was turned into a fantastic mansion. I think it called Place House, if my memory serves me correctly. And it stood there for a couple of 100 years as this wonderful mansion, but fell into disrepair and again was pulled down, parts of it, and the masonry used for other things. But the main gatehouse, which I think had the big living quarters on the first floor, still remain, and you can go and look in. It's English heritage property at the moment. They're the custodians looking after it, and they've done a grand job. It's free to go in. Parking is on site, and you can just go in and have a look, and that is absolutely fantastic. I'm hoping to do more of these ruins in the year with the lovely Julia. And a lot of people like that sort of thing, so we do more of that. Obviously still doing the churches and all the other bits and pieces that we do, bits of heritage, and if they're free to get in, so much the better, because it's nice to highlight these things, because often people think at the weekend or at bank holidays or in the summer or Easter holidays, whatever, people think, where can we go, where can we take the kids? And it's great to get them out, and if it doesn't cost you very much, it really inspires the imagination. I love it. I think it's fantastic. So that was good. And it was good to meet up with Matthew Holdsworth. So I've been busy with people this week. It's been fantastic. If only every week was like this, it would be wonderful. Matthew Holdsworth, of course, and I are exploring the Greensand Way, which is mostly in Surrey. We've been doing quite a bit from Leith Hill eastwards, and we got as far as Buckland last time, so we picked up from there and went from Buckland. No, wait a minute, it was Betchworth. That's where we got to. I get confused on all these B names. Betchworth is where we got to, and we had stopped and looked at Margarets Church, and we carried on the Greensand Way this time to Buckland, and we ended up at yet another church, which we actually said we would go back and have a look at before we carry on. Lots of interesting things, not least the only surviving wind-powered sawmill, a little windmill on the top of a barn, well, I guess the workshop, powered by the wind, which was only found fairly recently under a yew tree, and we stumbled across that on our walk. So that was another bonus that we just happened to see, which is superb. That's why I tend not to do the very long walks that many other people would do, these long distant walks, and put them all in one video. Often there's so many little details to see that it's nice to just have a bit more time to focus in on those smaller things as you wander around. So that was the week that's passed. The week coming up, well, I was supposed to be up in Chester today, or tomorrow, this weekend. Well, I'm recording this on Saturday for Sunday. So this weekend I was supposed to be up there meeting a chap called Chris to go and have some drone flying lessons. But the weather has been bleak. It's just been battleship grey. It's a lot of moisture in the air, which is not good for drones, and also just very grim. And so the picture quality would be, pretty boring looking down. And cold. So we both decided that it's a long way to go to not actually get to fly our drone, so we postponed that. So I'm sorry about that. I am eager to get my drone up, but I want to get footage of me practicing it and showing you the journey to improvement. So I would like the first one to look really good. I'm a bit finicky when it comes to that sort of thing. But once it's up there forever. So I want people to. I want to see what good results can come from the drone. So that would be exciting. So instead, I'm at home today. I've just been catching up. This is Saturday as I record, as I said. However, next week going to meet up with Mark English. Mentioned him earlier because, as I said, he'd already been to the Priest House and a number of places. We're going to think of somewhere where we get together. We often have a bit of a laugh. When we make our videos, it's quite nice to have a bit of levity in them, as well as the ones which are a bit more serious. I've been trying to get to Lands Windmill, that I have actually been saying Oakland's Windmill for some reason. Met up with Darren Dendy, who you'll see on Monday if you're watching this on Sunday. But this week, Darren Dendy is a chap who's got a whole load of ancestors buried, about 130 actually, in the graveyard at Itchingfield near Horsham. And he actually pointed me in the direction of Lands Windmill and had a chat with one of the curators there. So I've been in touch with this curator chap, and we've tried 3 times, I think, to get an appointment to go and see them. But again, the weather has blighted it. And it's a windmill. And like I say, to me, it's very important to film it on the best days I can. And if it's grim and grainy and white, it's a shame, because the videos will stay up there all the time. And I just think it's worth waiting. The big top professionals wait for the best weather. So why not me? Anyway, so I'm hoping that with luck we will have better weather, but it may get pushed back. So that's something else to look forward to. And of course, if you're a member of the Bald Explorer Facebook group and you like walking, you can join us on our walk from the Jack and Jill windmills above Clayton towards Ditchling Beacon, which we will be doing on the 1st of February. And do check out all the details on the Bald Explorer group. It's free to join, and the walk is free. You only have to pay for the car park, which I think the car park is free. I can't remember now. So it should be great fun. So that's this week's chat. Don't forget to help me out by becoming a patron. That just helps me put petrol in the car and go to further afield places. And it really just supports this, because this is really now what I do full time as a job. So people like you support these videos, and without your help I couldn't do it. A lot of people get a lot of pleasure out of the videos, and I'm thrilled that that's what happens. So I want to continue this service as much as I can. So all details about that can be found at baldexplorer.com. And don't forget to follow, like and subscribe. Give me a thumbs up on the videos if you can. It does help the YouTube algorithm. Keeps us being recommended to people who are searching similar things, which is nice. And I will see you out and about on my explorations. So thanks so much for watching. Have a great day, whatever you're up to. Don't forget to get out and get those, all of the, oh, I know Mike Dixon knows all the terms, so I keep forgetting what it is. The endorphins and the various other mental things going when you get out and about in the great landscape. Till next time, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.